Hey y'all, I'm Roger from Up in Smoke Barbecue and Back Porch Cooking and Reminiscing. And today we're going to be doing a recipe that I found on Facebook a few weeks ago. And after looking at it and thinking about it, I think I can improve on that recipe. So I'm going to show y'all what I think the recipe should be. And then we'll give it a taste at the end and see if I did good or if I messed up and should have stayed with their recipe. But what we're going to do is a roasted mushroom, bacon, and Swiss meatloaf. Everybody loves meatloaf, but of course everybody always does it with to have the sweet ketchupy taste to it. And I think this one's going to be a little more savory than it's going to be sweet. So y'all stick with us, and here in just a minute we'll get started on that recipe. Remember, if you haven't already, hit that like, subscribe, hit the bell button. That way you'll get notifications when we post a new video, and hope y'all are enjoying everything so far. All right, y'all, so we're ready to start putting this meatloaf together. So first thing we got is I've got 2 pounds of ground beef hamburger. So we got that in the bowl there. The next thing we're going to put in is this is a pound of ground pork. So we're just going to throw that in there. All right. Now let's go ahead and do a little mixing up there and before we put all the other stuff in it and kind of get this started mixing up. And like I said, I'm gonna kind of change their recipe up a little bit because I think that making some changes to it will probably make it a little bit better than what that they had. They only used like a pound of burger and then used a half a pound of pork. And I don't know. That's a very, very small meatloaf. And if it's good, you're going to want some extras. Maybe make you some meatloaf sandwiches or something out of it. But we'll find out here in a little bit whether I made the right decisions or if I didn't make the right decisions. All right, so we got that mixed up there pretty well. So now the next thing that we're going to put in there is going to be 1 cup of breadcrumbs. And y'all don't worry, I'm going to put this recipe in the description for you so that you can follow along with it. But we're going to just put in 1 cup of breadcrumbs. All right, our next thing is going to be 1 medium onion, and I dice that up pretty small, so that way they'll be able to cook while the meatloaf's cooking, and we won't get a mouthful of raw onion if we got them chopped up real good. All right, our next thing, and now this is something that they didn't call for in theirs, but I think that this will really set this recipe off and make it just really great. I'm putting in about 8 or 10 very small diced mushrooms. Now their recipe didn't call for any mushrooms at all, but I'm thinking bacon, Swiss, we got to have some mushrooms in there too. All right. Now then our next thing is going to be we got 2 teaspoons of minced garlic and 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. So I just put those both in a bowl together, and so we're going to just pour those on there. All right, and then we got a tablespoon of salt and a tablespoon of pepper. So we've got that salt and pepper, so we're just going to put that all around in there. And if y'all hear me sniffling again, you know that it's still sinuses going on. And this is something that their recipe didn't call for either, and that is 1 egg. I'm going to put 1 egg in there just to kind of help that along. and help it to be able to stick together a little bit. I'm afraid if we don't put an egg in there that it may just fall apart on us. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. All right, and then the last thing we're going to put in is a half a cup of ketchup. So we're just going to put that right around in there. That's one of the reasons why I got gloves on, is so that I don't get this all over me. All right, so that's got our ketchup in there. And now we just start mixing. Just go in there and get it from the bottom and bring it to the top. I really do hope this will be as good as I think it's going to be. Now, when we were in the restaurant, of course, we did meatloaf in the restaurant pretty regularly, but matter of fact, it was one of our blue plate specials that we did in the restaurant. But of course, we always made just regular meatloaf. We didn't make up anything special like this. So it's going to be interesting to see how this turns out. So you just get it all good and mixed up in there and get everything incorporated. Now I would just turn the camera off and then come back when we get this all done, but with all this stuff on my hands, that's kind of a hard thing for me to do right now without getting a really good mess all over my camera, and I don't really want to get that all over the camera. But it's coming together pretty well here. It's making that squishy sound. Just remember, I always get down in there on the bottom of it and bring it all the way around. I just threw an onion out. Well, not just an onion, threw a piece of hamburger out. Now we'll get that back in there. Yeah, I cleaned the bar down before I started doing this, so we should be good. And I washed the mushrooms off too, so we should be pretty good on the safety part of it. All right, y'all, I think it is about ready. So I'm gonna get these gloves off here and get it ready to go in a pan. All right, y'all, so we've got our mixture all mixed up and everything's incorporated in. We've got us a pan here. This is one of those Pioneer Woman pans. My wife wanted a set of these for Christmas back a few years ago, so we've got her one, and we've used it many times. It's a very good product. So if y'all in the market for a bacon dish, look for one of these. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're just going to take this and we're going to put it in the pan. And like I say, it's going to make a big meatloaf. It's going to be about a 3-pound meatloaf. But again, hopefully if it's really good, I'll be happy that I made a 3-pound meatloaf. All right, so once you get it in the pan, you want to kind of form it out, which takes a little elbow grease. We're going to just flatten it out in the pan there. We want it to be all pretty when it comes out, so. And I've got the oven preheating to 350 degrees. Y'all, I just found something out that we've lived in this house for almost 3 years now. And just, a few minutes ago, I'm looking at the stove and I'm going to use the bottom oven to cook this in. And I'm looking at the settings and everything, getting ready to get it started preheating. And I find out that this oven has got a convection setting on it. And like I say, we've lived here for almost 3 years in this house, and this is the first time that I've noticed it. So I went and asked Audrey about it. I said, "Did you know that this oven that we've got is a convection oven?" She had no clue either. So we're both kind of amazed at that it's a convection oven, and we never knew it. All right, so we've got that pressed in there pretty well. It's pretty even now. And so the next thing we're going to do is go in the oven with it. And there's a few more steps that we got to do before it's completely finished cooking. We got to put the bacon on it. We got to put the Swiss cheese on it. But I don't want to do that just yet. I'll do that once we get a little closer to being done with it, because the bacon that I'm going to use is some bacon that we used in the restaurant, and it's a pre-cooked bacon. And so if I put it on there right now, it's going to just probably burn to a crisp, and I don't want that. I want us to have some good bacon on it. So we'll put that bacon on it in a little bit when we're closer to being ready. All right, y'all. So after about an hour and 15 minutes or so, this is what it looks like. Looks pretty good. Maybe not as fancy looking as the picture was on Facebook, but I'm sure that picture was probably a stock picture from somewhere, some fancy restaurant or something. But this looks really good. It smells great. Um, Now there is, with that recipe on Facebook, there's a sauce that they made. I think it was a barbecue with sour cream. I'll go ahead and put that in the description for you, but I'm not going to have it that way because I really don't care anything at all about having the barbecue sauce and all that on it. But this is the finished product. Looks good. It held together good when I took it out of the pan. And so we're going to let it sit here and rest and cool off for a few, and then we're going to get us some of it and give it a try. All right, y'all. So it's had time to sit here and rest and cool off a little bit. And so now I'm ready to give it a try. Now, if you saw the picture, um, or the video there just before this, Audrey didn't want any cheese on her part of it, so that's why one end didn't have cheese on it, and the other end did. So I'm ready to give it a try, see how it tastes. So as I said, it smells great and looks great, and we got us a good piece there with some bacon on it. See, that's all good and cheesy and bacony. All right, let's give it a try. Mm, 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 mm. 2 thumbs up on that. Y'all, that is good. I was afraid that it wouldn't be, but it is marvelous. Instead of being sweet, it's more savory. Bacon, that Swiss cheese just sets it off. Goodness, I'm telling you, it is so good. Y'all really need to try this. And we got some cream potatoes and some sweet peas to go with it. So I'm going to go in here and sit down and chow down. Thank y'all for watching. Appreciate it. Hope y'all will try this. I think you'll enjoy it. Y'all have a good one. Thanks.